begin right now where we are, our silent meditation, our guided meditation, rather. Become present to what is right here and right now. Where you sit with God. Take a breath in and let it be the breath of God that fills you. And once again, let that breath be a cleansing, healing, revealing, transformative breath. And as we sit here quietly with the divine, let us call forth that which is true, that is that which is the absolute. Inhaling, God is. Exhaling, I am. Inhaling, I am. And exhaling, God is. I am. You are. We are. God is. And just for a moment, taking a look at your life in 3 parts. Your spiritual life, your emotional life, and your physical life. How is your spiritual life going? Is there something that you need to let go of? Or is it something that you need to step into to reveal more of who you are and the truth of God? See what comes up for you and name it without judgment, just lovingly and unconditionally. Now, how about your emotional life, your emotional well-being? Being well is who you are, who you were brought here to be. Is there something that you want to release today and let go of? A way of being, or perhaps a forgiveness, without judgment, but ever so lovingly. Name it and claim it. What is it that you desire for your well-being? And finally, your physical body, that temple. What is it that perhaps is getting in the way of your vibrancy? You're feeling your ultimate, your vibrant self. Just notice it lovingly, unconditionally, naming it and claiming it. And now stepping into what is possible for yourself in the realm of your body temple. Remembering that I am, God is, and we are one. Hear these words by Mark Nepo, titled Upstream. When it is we who do the stepping, it's hard to see the steps, but look where you are. Years ago, the gift you carried since birth was waiting inside for you. This very day, you're bringing what you carried through the fire into the world. Ever since you've become the cup that holds your soul. Even more, you've become the cup that holds your soul. You fit your gift fits you. It doesn't matter if you have everything in place. Slow and live this day. You have earned this view. And come back into the space. And good morning. My name is not Dr. Reverend Frankie. My name is Irene Avlonitis. Most of you know me. I'm a licensed practitioner here. And Reverend Frankie, as you know, many of you know that she is on a mini sabbatical, that little mini, 1 month of retreat where she gets to refuel and restore. So I'm honored to be here and facilitate today's service. We are kicking off our 4-week, very exciting, sensational summer speaker series. And I said it without a mistake. So we have 4 dynamic speakers. We have Kris Ferraro here today, which if you haven't heard her, you're in store for such a treat. She is really so dynamic, and we're so fortunate to have her. She will be offering a workshop this afternoon, where she'll tell you a little bit more about that, from 12 to 1:30. So after the service, please register with me at the table, and again, you'll be so fortunate to be in her presence and hear the words that she has to share today. Okay. We have some exciting things that are coming in the month of June and July in the summer. So everything is found in the lobby, but just as a reminder, we have the next few events and offerings. Starting June 7th, we have Prosperity Plus with our beloved and lovely Jennifer Arezio. And you won't be sorry if you sign up for that, because she too is very dynamic. On June 22nd, we have the I Am, the Cosmic Vibration. If you've never heard this gentleman speak, and his name is, I can't remember. Thank you. He's really pretty amazing, and what he will bring is pretty far out and pretty amazing. And lastly, we have Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver, who is here on July 29th, and she'll be the musical inspiration and offering a workshop as well, bringing her beautiful music with the words of Ernest Holmes, so that's very exciting too. Okay, so let's have a treatment right now. This is our word for affirmative prayer, and I invite you to close your eyes. So just know with me right here and right now that there is a power for good in the universe, and we can use it. It is ours to use, it is ours to create, it is ours to make into creation. And I know that I am one with the infinite intelligence. I am one with that power that is all-knowing, all-present, everywhere, all the time. It is in the tiniest, most minuscule insect. It is in the vast expanse ocean. It is the mountains. It is the sky. It is my thoughts. It is you. It is me. It is everywhere, all the time. And I choose to live my life from a place of oneness, to connect to that source, the source of my good, so that I can be an instrument in the world. That is who I desire to be, a divine presence in the world, bringing my good. And I accept my humanity, and I accept my divinity, and I step into the greater I am today, knowing that what is possible is miraculous and magnanimous. And I'm so very grateful to be here, to be celebrating with all these beautiful souls today on this Sunday, together, lifting up the vibration, lifting up each of our consciousnesses, if that's a word, and coming into the world with a greater sense of self. For that, I am so grateful and blessed. And together we say, and so it is. One more reading with you today. It comes from Reverend Karen Wiley's book, Daily Inspirations, called Coming Home. We are constantly expanding into a greater version of ourselves. The problem we face sometimes is that we are not yet up to speed with who and what we have become. So physically, we appear to be going through darkness. It can feel very uncomfortable because negative feelings and thoughts arise as though we've gone backwards instead of forwards. The new idea or dream for your life is born within you, and immediately your inner being accepts and moves into the new idea of who you've become. The law of attraction responds to the new you and brings all that you need to you easily and effortlessly. It is a stream of well-being. The difficulty is our ability to get out of the way. We often resist what we have already internally become by our negative thoughts and doubts about ourselves, either hashing over our past failures or asking whether we are enough. Make peace with where you are. There is nothing to worry about or fret over. The expanded version of you is always calling, so let go and let the swift current bring you home. All is yours, and you are welcome. Okay, now I'd like to just tell you a little bit about Kris Ferraro. She is an international energy coach, practitioner, prayer practitioner, speaker, and workshop facilitator. Kris frequently speaks to diverse audiences, spreading a message of practical empowerment through faith, balanced energy, and the science of mind teaching. She is the creator of Spiritual Freedom Techniques, which you'll learn about today in the workshop, which is a series of practices that combine spiritual processes like shadow and forgiveness work with energy modalities for transformation. In addition, she serves on the Center for Spiritual Living Practitioner Council. Can we give Kris a warm Morristown welcome?
Hi, everyone. Good to see you. I'm going to move this over if that's okay. I can see everybody better. I'm really happy to be back here with you all. It was about a year ago that I was here this time, and we had such a good time together. So I'm really, really very, very happy to be back. So in this teaching, we so often talk about what we're creating, right? That's what makes New Thought unique, right, from a lot of the other religions of the world. We consciously co-create with the universe. We look at what we want to have happen. In this teaching, we use spiritual mind treatment, right? That's our main method. And we may do other things like visualization or just saying affirmations, vision boards, right? That's a classic New Thought technique for manifestation. And yet there can be times when we feel stuck, and that stuckness is something that feels like a mystery. We just can't figure it out. We've been working on this thing, this change that we want to see happen in our lives, whether that's something physical, like a home, or a change in our health or in our relationships, but we're working on something and we just keep feeling like we're hitting a roadblock. And so I have been a licensed spiritual practitioner for over 10 years, and I've been in the New Thought for 20 years. And so what I often find when I'm working with people is that when we get stuck, it's because there's something in the way that we simply haven't let go of. We have to create room in our lives for the very experiences and things that we want to have. So my introduction to New Thought was with Reverend Catherine Ponder, and you may know her from the book, The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity. That's her big classic. And she was a unity minister. And she would often write that the universe abhors a vacuum. Abhors. It's abhorrent to the very universe to have a vacuum, to have a void. So when I was preparing this talk, I thought, well, I wonder where that originally came from. Like, did she make that up? Oh, no, it came from Aristotle, So this goes way back. Aristotle said that nature abhors a vacuum. And what does nature do? It follows law, just like we all follow law. And so the teaching about that is, if we create the void, then it must be filled. And Aristotle realized that in nature, that whether it was filled with air, it was filled with something. And that makes sense because everything that exists is made of energy, right? So you can't have a place where energy is not. And in this teaching, we know that there can't be a place where God is not. So when we create an opening, when we create a space, then it can be filled with the next level of what that expression is for us. I love the reading that Irene did. It was so perfect because we are constantly in a state of evolution. That's just the way it is. And when we don't move with that evolution, we get stuck. And there's a lot of good reasons for that. We get attached, right? We get attached to what we have. We get attached to the people in our lives. And listen, I know that there are some spiritual teachings out there that all teach about being completely detached. I don't even really think that that's real, to be honest with you. We are spiritual beings, but we are having a human experience. And when we leave the humanness out of our spirituality, that's where we get problems. Because the humanness will trip you up. The humanness has doubts. The humanness has fears. The humanness gets in the way. And so if we ignore it, it will not be ignored, right? That which we repress just grows. So in our attachment, right, we hold on to things that no longer serve us. And because it gives us a sense of security, because we believe that if we let that go, then we'll have nothing, right? That's a common belief. And yet, we know from spiritual wisdom that the exact opposite of that is true. It is in releasing what no longer serves us and creating that vacuum and creating that void that newness comes in. Very difficult for it to come in if that space energetically is already being taken up by something else. So where do we hold on to things? We hold on to the simplest of things. When I go to other countries, it's shocking to me how much possessions we have here in the U.S., and people in other countries live so much more simply without it. And I am one of those people. I have a lot of interests, so I do have a lot of things. But recently, I finally let go of my home of 11 years, and I moved into a one-bedroom apartment. I cannot tell you what a relief it was to let go of that stuff. Even when we hold on to clothes, you go through this sort of evolution and you think, well, this stuff just doesn't suit me anymore. Or let's be real, it doesn't fit anymore. And we have this closet filled with things that don't fit us in a variety of ways. And we think, but I can't let go of this stuff yet, because I need to wear something. I can't walk around naked, after all. And yet what you will find is as you move out that old stuff, suddenly, miraculously, there's a sale, or you find a store that reflects the style of who you are now, or you see someone wearing something and you say, where did you get that? And they give you a clue of what that next expression is. And that's in a simple way. And so it seems like, well, what's the big deal about that? Well, because what we do in small ways, we also do in large ways, right? Because how we do anything is how we do everything, because everything is a reflection of our consciousness, right? So it can start with the clothes, but that can be a reflection of something far greater. I recently inherited a car from my father when he passed away, and it's by far the newest, nicest car I have ever owned. Now, the car I had, I loved. It was 14 years old, but, you know, it was a Subaru, so if you any Subaru drivers, you know, we love our Subs, right? And I had to go through like a grieving and letting go process to sell my car to take on this beautiful new car that has Bluetooth and is also a Subaru, by the way. We're like a Subaru family. So I was just getting the much, much updated, nicer version. But I still had to release the attachment to what I had to the old. And if I had ignored that attachment, I would have had a really hard time selling it. That's what happens, right? But because I was able to face that attachment and pray about it and let it go, amazingly, someone from my center, which is CSL North Jersey, who had the identical same car, came up to me and said, "Are you ever thinking about selling your car?" And I said, "Well, actually, I have to." And I said, "But you already own the exact same car." And she said, "Yeah, but you have 100,000 miles less on it, so I'm going to take it." So she bought it from me, so it sort of stayed in the family. So now when I go to the center, I get to go by my old car and sort of wave as I go past. And I feel really good. It's someone who totally loves it and appreciates it as much as I did. But it fell into place perfectly because I had looked at the letting go and the pain of letting go. We hold on to people. We hold on to people in relationships that are so beyond where we now are, right? And it doesn't even necessarily mean letting go of the relationship itself, but it's not even bringing the relationship up to the next level of where it needs to be. And then you find people being stagnant and crabby with one another and bickering at each other, and it's because you just haven't created the newness. You've gotten stuck in the routine, right? And in the routine, right, we lose sight of who we are in that moment because the routine was created from the person that you were a week ago or a year ago or 10 years ago, and you're not that person anymore. And we hold on to old ideas about ourselves, who we think we are, what we think we're able to do, what we think we're not able to do. And so I've been reviewing a lot of this lately because I recently experienced a 10-year anniversary of my work as an energy coach and as a spiritual practitioner. So 10 years ago, I was licensed as a spiritual practitioner, and 10 years ago, I became an EFT practitioner and began tapping with people and working with people energetically. And I was working a more than full-time job in social services. I was a counselor at a nonprofit agency. And the light around that job had long ago dimmed. When I had gotten the job, it had saved me. It was exactly what I needed. It was stable. I was getting health insurance for the first time in my life. There were really good benefits, and I was finally going to have a retirement account. And I was finally stepping into real adulthood. This was like a real career for me, and based on my education. And so I walked into that company just with such overwhelming gratitude for all of the opportunities it gave me. And for the first 9 or 10 years or so, it was truly a gift. It was hard work, but I loved my clients, and it's even hard for me to even say this now, but I even liked the paperwork. I was like, I really dotted all my I's, I crossed my T's. Everybody thought I did the best paperwork because I was grateful to be there, and it was really good for me. But the biggest part of my life had been my spiritual and healing journey, which is what I did outside of my work, right? So I was that workshop junkie. I was reading all the self-help books, and I was doing all of those processes that was following that inner call within me, that was leading me forward. That's what I was most passionate about. And then I remember that there was this aha moment for me. I was a member of a professionalism organization called NACI, which stands for the National Association for the Education of Young Children. And I needed to go to a national conference that was in Washington, D.C., and I was really excited about it. I still am thrilled when anyone pays for my travel to go just about anywhere. So I was going to D.C., I was really, really excited. I love conferences, I love workshops because I'm a lifelong learner. I'm always absorbing new information. And there were thousands of people there from all over the world. Heroes, really. People who believe in the education and support of young children in so many ways. Incredible, right? And in the middle of this huge convention center, they had a place where all the vendors are set up, right? And it was the size of like a football stadium. So there's all these people there selling their different educational wares, okay? And I arrived at the center, and in the middle was this huge thing. Back in my day, they called them jungle gyms. I don't know what they're called now. But it was this huge, elaborate play set that you would have at a school or a daycare center. And it was like the Rolls Royce of those kind of centers, right? It had multiple slides and tunnels and little playhouses, this huge thing. And I hear a woman next to me gasp. And she gets out her camera, and she's joined by a friend, and they're taking pictures of this thing. And I thought, what am I doing here? This is not my tribe. It was this moment of awareness. For those two people, that was excitement. That was their purpose, right? They saw that, and they thought, this is the most amazing thing. They had this look of passion in their eyes, and it wasn't mine. And I felt this feeling of aloneness, of, I don't belong here. This isn't my tribe. This isn't my people. I love what they are doing, but this isn't me. My eyes are not lit up with joy looking at a jungle gym. It's not for me. And so I realized very quickly that I needed to start moving in another direction. But the fear kept me stuck. And what I'm here to share with you is that which can save you, if you stick around too long, will skewer you, okay? And so what began to happen was things started degrading at my job. A new CEO came in, where the other one was very fluid and open and actually ran the company with a spiritually based management system, if you can believe that, for a nonprofit. Next thing you know, this person comes in who is extremely rigid and controlling and begins to take away all the things that made being in that company enjoyable. And then they moved my office, they moved everybody into an office with a building with a mold problem that I could smell, and that I insisted was a problem, and that they refused to do anything about. Started getting memory problems. And I have to tell you, I have like a crazy, crazy good memory, like weirdly good, and I was forgetting things like constantly. And then there was this rainy, snowy, icy day, and the new CEO had let go of the maintenance staff, so the people that would come and like shovel our snow and things like that. Who needs that, right? And I arrived in front of the building, and there was ice all over, and I got out of my car, and I slammed the door, and I looked up at this decrepit building that we'd been moved into, and I thought, I hate this place. And I fell like a bag of bricks on the ice and broke my fibula. So the messages were becoming more and more painful, right? But I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to do this work, the work that I do now full time. My private practice had been kind of limping along, right? But I didn't feel ready. And then I took a risk. I got a job working for a company that sells EFT products. And went from an office to working from home. I gave up income, health insurance, benefits, everything that you could think of that would make you secure. But I at least was getting a paycheck, but a lot less than what I was used to making, because I had now, by this time, worked there for 15 years. And I worked for that company for a couple of years, and I realized, if these people can do this, I can definitely do this. And then I got fired. And when I got fired, I was like, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready to do this full time yet. This wasn't the plan. The plan was I was going to continue to develop my business, work part-time for them and have a steady paycheck, and then work part-time doing my work, and then eventually, gradually, with ease and grace, move into doing this work full-time. No. Spirit kicked me out of the nest. As long as I was working for other people, I was giving my power away to them. I was making them my God, and they were not. I was giving them power that they really didn't have. And of course, they were using my talents and gifts, and they were grinding me down to a pulp and overworking me and underpaying me. And none of that was good for the consciousness of developing my business the way that I wanted it to. And so sometimes when we don't get let go, we are let go. And it is the greatest gift. I cannot tell you, because I got unemployment for 6 months, and I thought, okay, well, I'll work on my business for the next couple of months, and then I'll get another job. But within the next couple of months, I was madly in love with what I was doing, and I knew there was no turning back, that I was never again going to work for someone else, that this is what I came here to do. And lo and behold, people showed up, even with my terrible website. People gave referrals. People told other people about me. I provided services for free because I love what I do so much. I would do it for free until I didn't have to do that anymore. And in all of that, it was such an amazing lesson for me, because until those distractions of working for other people, long after their purpose had been served, were cleared away, there wasn't going to be room for me to develop exactly what I needed to do. And I get that we hold on so tightly to things, but it's only in the letting go that everything has changed. No longer a 9-to-5. No longer dependent on anyone else. I go direct to Spirit for all of my needs, and my needs are met. They are met better than I could have ever expected. Any place that I need it, God meets me there, even when I don't expect it at all. And so in the process of deciding to celebrate the 10 years of what I was doing, it wasn't that I'd been doing it for 10 years. It was that I stuck with it for 10 years until it really worked, until I allowed it to work through me. And when I allowed it to work through me, it worked. It worked on every level. I am the happiest that I've ever been. My niece said to me recently, "You're the only person I know who loves their job." The only person she knows who loves their job. Because this is more than a job. This is my reason for being here. It's my reason I get up in the morning. I get to create great effect and change in people's lives merely as the facilitator. I get to watch miracles unfold before my very eyes. Yeah, I don't want to do anything but this. And the kindness of people that showed up just when I needed it to further me along, the person that sent me a client at the exact time that I needed it, it was amazing that my whole life I worried about money. Constantly worried about money, even when I knew every 2 weeks I was getting X number of dollars. Then it's only in the letting go of that I've stopped worrying about money. When I'm in the most uncertain, insecure place that I could be. That's the irony of God, y'all. That's how it works. So I let go of security. I let go of certainty. And in the process of building my business into my dream, I had to let go of some old dreams. 11 years before, I had bought a 100-year-old house in West Orange on my own. And at that time, it was the greatest thing that I had ever pulled off. You know, I had really, really worked for this one. And I remember when I went to meet with my lawyer at the closing and we were sitting down and filling out all the papers, and my lawyer kept saying, wow, I mean, I can't believe, you got this square footage. I can't believe, this is a good size, lot. Well, I can't believe you got this interest rate. And I thought, yeah, I can believe it because that's what God did through me. And then that dream changed too, just like with my social service career and how that dream changed, so too it did with the house. For a time, it was amazing. I couldn't believe it. I had my own home. I had all of this incredible freedom. But as my work changed, being saddled with a home no longer worked for me. I started to become resentful. I didn't want to spend my weekends painting and spackling and cleaning out gutters and all of that. I was not interested. I definitely didn't want to cut the grass, I can assure you. And that stuff that had been a joy now felt like a drag. I didn't want to do it. I was in love with my work. I wanted to spend my weekends, researching ancestral trauma and looking up studies on, what's the latest scientific evidence of energy work. This is what I wanted to do. And I didn't want to not do what I didn't want to do. So, of course, the house began to fall into disrepair. But I was in denial about it. And it was only when I looked at the attachment to the house that I was able to let it go. And the attachment came from I had derived a great deal of self-esteem from the fact that I had become a single woman homeowner on my own. I had taken great pride in myself for having been able to do that. But when I looked at the attachment, I realized that what I have my most pride in now is what I do. It's not what I purchased. It's what I am. It's what I contribute. It's how I serve. And when I realized that, letting go of the house was a snap. Because I had evolved past that being my big success. My big success now is how I contribute to the world and what I am doing. And that is so far greater than a building. And as I moved into my one-bedroom apartment, it has been such a joy. Several other CSL members live in the building. I have huge windows in every room and a view of the New York City skyline from my office, my home office. I watch the sun rise each morning, and it fills me in a way that I didn't know that was possible. One of my neighbors that lives on the 3rd floor is in love with my cats, and because I now travel frequently for my work, she comes and she takes the most amazing care of them. I think that they're almost a little sad when I come home now. They're like, oh, mom's here. It's worked out so far better than I could have ever imagined. It's created so much more ease and freedom in my life because I let go of the old idea of who I was as Kris as the homeowner. Now I'm Kris with the New York City view from my apartment. That's a pretty good Kris too. So I want to share with you that when we create space, these incredible things show up. You know, I let go of the house in the fall. It was sort of a tumultuous fall for me because my father passed away at the same time. I had speaking engagements. I had one in Nevada. I was traveling back and forth quite a bit. And by December, I sort of felt like a little bit like a limp rag. You know, so I sort of just let myself be wherever I was until I recharged my battery. And then in March, St. Martin's Press contacted me, and they asked me to write a book for them. I had to write it in 6 weeks, though. The 35,000 to 40,000 words in 6 weeks is no small feat. But when they approached me, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. And I knew that it was some type of divine gift, so I immediately said yes. Then I became paralyzed for about 2 weeks. Oh no, now I have to actually do this now. And then I proceeded to pull it off. And on May 1st, I submitted my manuscript as 38,445 words. Thank you. And this was a dream that I had had since I was 8. When I was in 4th grade, I wrote poetry and I drew pictures, and my 4th grade teacher helped me create like a bound book. And I thought, I want to do this. I want to be an author. And 40 years later, it's happening. I didn't ask for it. I didn't visualize it. I let go of what no longer served me. And then the next dream was able to come in. I didn't do a book proposal. I still have a terrible website, although they're making me change it, which is good because someone had to. But it happened. It just came in. This is what happens when we create spaciousness and let go of who we used to be. Dreams don't have deadlines, but sometimes you got to shift out the old ones to allow the new ones to come in. And it's been such a gift. So how do you strengthen your faith when you're feeling attached and you want to hold on? Spiritual mind treatment. Of course, pray about this stuff. Use the denial step. I release the attachment to the old. I release the doubts that say I can't have this. I get rid of this. Ritual. Ritual is a part of our cellular memory, okay? From the dawn of time, since man existed, rituals were done. It was doing something in the microcosm in a small form to create a shift in the macrocosm. Create some kind of release ritual to let go of the old. And sometimes you're going to just have to walk out on that invisible bridge and trust that it will appear beneath you, and let go of what is no longer serving you. Do it in faith. Have a friend help you. Have an accountability buddy be there to hold your hand through it. But I can assure you that the universe does abhor a vacuum. And as we create more spaciousness in our life, there's more room for who we are now, for those new dreams to come in and to take root and to grow. Take a chance. I never thought that I'd be doing this now. Never. If you told me 5 or 6 years ago that I would be self-employed doing the work that I love, that I'd be happier working than I ever thought possible, that the greatest love of my life would be my vocation, I would have told you that you were crazy. And here I am living it. One of my clients said to me, "You know what, Kris, you're a superstar in your own little world." And I said, "Yeah, as we all should be. I don't have to be on a billboard to be that superstar. I'm a superstar in my own life." And when we create space, we can evolve into that. Each of us can do that. It's equally available for all. So thank you for being with me this morning. And I am going to be teaching this afternoon from 12 to 1:30 about what we do with our humanness when it gets in the way of our spirituality. So I'm going to be doing an introduction to spiritual freedom techniques. What do you do when you want to meditate? Everybody knows meditation is great, wonderful for you, except you sit down and the monkey mind starts going and it makes you crazy and then you don't want to do it, right? Well, there's energy practices that you can do to quiet the monkey mind down. What can you do to enhance prayer? Well, praying from a state of desperation and terror isn't very effective prayer. So we're going to talk about some very simple, easy energy practices that we can do. And you're going to get a handout, so all the instructions will be written down for you. So if you want to join us, I'd love to see you because I love sharing what I do. And I love being in groups of our tribe because, even though then I realized I wasn't in the right tribe, I now am in the right tribe. And there's no other feeling that can replace that. So we get to just spend some more time together today, which will be really, really great. Thank you so much. Am I on? There I am. Let's pray, everybody. I close my eyes because I let go of the world of effect and I tune to the power within me, to that inner vision, to that place inside of me that is connected to all that is or will ever be. And it's in this place that I remember the truth about God. God the all-knowing. Anything that needs to be known ever is known by God. God the all-powerful. Anything and everything that needs to be transformed, done by God. And as I focus my awareness on that power, on that presence, I remember that it is within me, as close as my beating heart, as near as my breath. And I allow myself to relax into this knowing that I am known, that I am loved, exactly as I am. And so I speak this word for every person in this room. What I know is that we are each releasing and letting go what no longer serves, what's past its expiration date, that's no longer in alignment. Making room for the new, making room for the new dreams, for the new consciousness, for the new energy to be made manifest through each of us, through our aspirations and our relationships and our health and our finances. That vitality of life itself expressing as me, expressing as you. Each of us anchoring that into our body temple, moving into that place of gratitude where we remember God's grace. There's nothing any of us need do to be more worthy of this grace than we are right now. Thankful for answered prayer in all of its forms, expected and unexpected. Grateful for being able to say yes. I move into surrender and trust, moving with the flow of life into a downstream experience. I simply know that this is done. Always with ease, always with grace. And please join with me by saying, and so it is.
Here, thank you, Kris Ferraro, for a wonderful talk. It was amazing. And James Bro. And come to the workshop.